we had received a lead live on the show. Someone paid money to inform us that there was footage that the FBI was hiding.
They really want us to believe that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk and then disassembles the gun within 5 seconds, puts it all into his backpack, which wouldn't even fit because it's like a 4-foot-long gun.
Right in the middle of our live broadcast, boom, a tip dropped into our inbox that changed everything. Someone backed up their claim with cash, and what they told us? The FBI's got secret footage locked down tight, and they're not trying to let it see the light of day. You know the case Tyler Robinson got arrested over Charlie's passing? But real talk, a lot of people think Tyler got set up as the fall guy for something way bigger and darker than anyone's saying out loud. Here's what doesn't add up. Why would a clean record guy, someone with no violence in his past, suddenly throw his whole life away to take the blame? What if his hands were literally tied? Maybe family or friends got threatened hard. Or what if someone close to him was pressured to give a statement that made him look guilty? At first it sounds wild, straight up unbelievable even, but when you start pulling at the threads, connecting the dots, everything shifts. The story gets layers, and suddenly it's way more twisted than it looks on the surface. Behind the scenes, the real story gets darker. Now peep this, there's a comment that went viral that's genuinely unsettling.
So you're telling me this 22-year-old is the guy who unalived Charlie. Okay, so he changes into different clothes, goes on a rooftop, assembles the weapon, takes a single shot, changes into different clothes, disassembles the weapon, comes down, reassembles the weapon, and throws it in the bush.
It claims there was a backup plan to force a violent confrontation if Tyler refused to surrender voluntarily. Stop for a second and let that sit with you. If there's any truth to this, and based on what we've already seen, these kinds of hints usually mean something. It exposes how far people in power were willing to go. But then Tyler actually turned himself in without any shootout or mess, which makes the whole thing even shadier. Why the contrast? It makes you wonder what was really happening behind closed doors and who was actually calling the shots. Before Tyler got taken into custody, there was a terrifying reason driving his every move that had nothing to do with just facing trial. It wasn't prison time that scared him, it was the thought of getting harmed by the cops before he even got to a cell. After an intense 33-hour manhunt across the country, Tyler made a huge decision and walked straight into the sheriff's office. But here's the thing, this didn't just happen randomly. His parents, with real love and determination, pushed him to stop thinking about running and come in. The pressure was so heavy that they had to bring in a family friend who was a retired deputy to calm everything down. This trusted person took charge, talked Tyler down from his fears, and convinced him that surrendering was the safest move, the only move that would actually keep him alive. According to Washington County Sheriff Nate Brooksby, Tyler was terrified of an extreme police response. In his head, he saw SWAT teams crashing through doors with explosives and bullets flying the second they spotted him, ready to take him down, no questions asked. This dread was crushing him as the night of the 11th of September 2025 rolled around closer to 10 p.m.
I think that the number one remedy in this case, Your Honor, is for this court to preclude the state from seeking the death penalty against Mr. Robinson.
That evening, Tyler, his father, and the retired deputy made the heavy drive to the Washington County Sheriff's Office in Hurricane, Utah. When he arrived, he was weirdly calm but sad, something totally different from what was churning inside him as he got taken in without fighting back. Some people wonder what if Tyler had gotten caught in the crossfire during his arrest. In that scenario, investigators might have just labeled him a dangerous loner and closed the case fast, using him as the answer to everything and leaving way more questions hanging than getting answered. They thought they could close this out. They expected the book to shut, the chapter to be done. But nope, Tyler Robinson's still in the game. He's locked in a legal fight, still waiting for trial. That's a massive problem for their neat little story, the one that's supposed to wrap up clean and final. Let's check where this thing actually stands right now. The trial's stuck in pre-trial, but that doesn't mean it's quiet behind the scenes. The prosecutors are pushing hard and aggressive. They're going after the ultimate penalty against Tyler. When you think about this move, the timing, what it really means, it's way bigger than just getting justice. If that penalty gets carried out, he's permanently silenced, just like their earlier plan to handle this with force. The legal system becomes the official way to finish it, making sure Tyler never gets to speak what he knows, cutting off every loose thread for good. Now, flip to the other side, the evidence they're using to build their case is straight up sketchy. First up is a chilling note Tyler supposedly wrote to his roommate before everything happened. Legal experts are calling it a straight confession because it spells out what he planned to do. But pump the brakes, think about how the world works now. Every move tracked, every message saved, every digital footprint stored somewhere. Are we really supposed to buy that Tyler left a handwritten confession just sitting around for cops to find? It's too perfect, too clean, like it was planted there instead of discovered. This note raises way more questions than it answers. Is it real or is something fishy going on? Then boom, here comes the immunity deal that flips everything upside down. In June 2026, prosecutors dropped a massive revelation that shook the whole case. They gave full immunity to Robinson's romantic partner, Lance Twiggs. Think about it, Twiggs was living with Robinson when it went down, so his sudden switch is huge. Out of nowhere, Twiggs is telling investigators that Robinson confessed to everything. But of course he did. When you've got total immunity on the table, people say whatever protects them. Picture being in the middle, facing serious charges, cops breathing down your neck, and suddenly they say no charges at all if you talk. What would most people do? They'd say whatever keeps them safe. This move adds crazy complexity to the whole investigation. Prosecutors are also bringing in tweets as statements plus text messages to lock down their case, and that's just scratching the surface. The whole case is thick with mystery. But here's where it gets wild. The defense team isn't playing around. They're pushing back hard, creating a real courtroom battle. Their move, they want Twiggs brought back to Utah to testify in person, to sit on that witness stand and face tough cross-examination. Their angle is solid, get face-to-face and see if his story holds up under pressure. Speaking of the defense team's plays back in April 2026, they made a bold claim that Robinson was cleared based on serious evidence. A bullet fragment from an autopsy got compared to Robinson's rifle. You'd think this would be straightforward and damning, right? But here's the kicker. The forensic report came back inconclusive. Let that sink in. If that rifle was definitely the weapon, wouldn't it show a clear match? Instead, the inconclusive result just throws more shade over the whole investigation. Questions pile up and the fight for truth keeps going. This entire situation is a tangled mess that doesn't add up, nowhere near the clean case they're desperately trying to package and sell. They never delivered the real proof they promised would tie everything together, no undeniable smoking gun that connects the dots without argument. And sitting right in the middle of this chaos is Erica Kirk, always there like clockwork, caught in the storm. Remember when she dropped that public forgiveness bomb? It shocked everybody. I understand forgiveness runs deep, especially when faith shapes who you are. But for those actually paying attention to every move, the timing felt completely wrong. She forgave him before the pre-trial wheels even started rolling, before any actual answers surfaced. The whole thing reeked of calculated damage control, like someone wanted to shut down questions before the public could start asking real questions about what actually happened and who made it happen. For people digging into this case, that quick forgiveness looked like the final puzzle piece, the signal pointing at a coordinated operation. So here's what we need to face. Was Tyler Robinson truly just some lone individual acting by himself, exactly like they want us to believe? Or was he actually a pawn trapped in something massive and hidden, something that operates way above what regular people can see? Were his family members threatened when nobody was watching? Did his partner get backed into that immunity deal just to protect himself from worse consequences? Every layer you pull back reveals more questions instead of answers. Think about everything that's happened throughout this whole ordeal. The 33-hour manhunt, the suspicious note that appeared too perfectly preserved, the immunity granted to a key witness who suddenly flipped their story, the inconclusive ballistics report that should have been straightforward, the pre-trial stuck in limbo while prosecutors push for the ultimate penalty. None of this reads like standard justice. It reads like pieces being moved on a chessboard by someone playing a much bigger game. The defense team fighting back with demands for face-to-face testimony, the inconsistencies in evidence handling, the timing of every revelation. These aren't random details, they're threads in a much larger tapestry. And the public forgiveness before answers even emerged. That's not healing, that's containment. That's someone worried about what might come out if people keep asking questions. Here's what matters most right now. Never take any story as complete truth without digging into it yourself. Always question what you're being told, especially when it comes wrapped in official language and authority. Real truth doesn't arrive packaged nicely. It gets buried under layers of deception, hidden behind legal proceedings, and protected by people with power. Truth requires work. It requires skepticism. It requires you to connect dots that powerful people want to keep separated. This case shows us something critical about how information flows in our world. 1 minute someone's arrested, the next minute immunity deals flip the script. Then forensic evidence comes back inconclusive. Then key figures forgive publicly before trials even start. The pieces don't fit together in a natural way, they fit together in a way that keeps the full picture hidden. That's why questioning everything isn't paranoia, it's responsibility. That's why connecting the dots matters. That's why your voice and your attention make a difference. If this investigation opened your eyes to how deep this goes, hit that like button and let the algorithm know you want more real talk. Subscribe so you don't miss the next investigation that matters. Share this with people who actually care about truth. Drop a comment and tell me what you think is really happening here. Let's build this conversation together because the more people asking questions, the harder it becomes to hide answers. See you on the next one.